Before you listen to this story, make sure you're alone, because what you're about to hear happened to a man who kept hearing a voice coming from a room that didn't exist. At first, he thought it was his imagination. Then the voice started saying his name, and one night, it told him exactly how he was going to die. What happened next was so terrifying that his family refused to enter the house ever again. This is the true nightmare of the voice from the empty room. In a small village surrounded by thick forest stood an abandoned house. Locals avoided it. Children ran past it. Even animals seemed afraid to go near it. But when 32-year-old David bought the property at a very cheap price, he laughed at the rumors. He believed ghosts weren't real. That decision would become the biggest mistake of his life. The first night was quiet, almost too quiet. The old wooden house creaked under the weight of the wind. David unpacked his belongings and went to sleep. At exactly 3:13 a.m., he woke up. Someone was whispering, very softly, from somewhere inside the house. David! He sat upright, his heart pounding. The house was empty, or at least it was supposed to be. The whisper came again. David. This time it sounded closer. He grabbed a flashlight and searched every room. Nothing. No intruder, no open windows, no explanation. Eventually, he convinced himself it was just a dream. But the whisper returned the following night, and the night after that, each time getting louder, each time sounding closer. A week later, David noticed something strange. The layout of the house didn't make sense. According to the building plans, there should have been one extra room, but there wasn't. Curious, he began measuring the walls. That's when he discovered a hollow section behind a bookshelf. With trembling hands, he pushed the shelf aside. Behind it was a small wooden door, a door that had been sealed shut for decades. The air around it felt ice cold, as though something on the other side was breathing. Then the whisper returned, but this time it wasn't whispering. It was speaking clearly. Don't open it. David froze. The voice was coming from behind the door. Fear battled curiosity. Curiosity won. He forced the door open. The smell hit him immediately. Rotting wood, mold, and something much worse. Inside was a tiny room, barely large enough for a person to stand. The walls were covered with strange markings, thousands of them, scratched into the wood. And in the center of the room sat an old chair, facing the wall, not the door, as if someone had been forced to sit there for years. Then David noticed something written above the chair, a sentence carved deeply into the wood. I can hear you watching me. His flashlight flickered. The room suddenly became freezing cold. Then he heard breathing, not his own. Something else was standing behind him. David turned around. Nothing was there, but the breathing continued, slow, heavy, right beside his ear. He ran, slamming the hidden door behind him. That night, he packed his belongings and prepared to leave forever. But at exactly 3:13 a.m., he woke again. The whisper had returned, only now it wasn't coming from the hidden room. It was coming from underneath his bed. David. His blood turned cold. Slowly, he looked down. Two pale eyes stared back at him from the darkness, smiling. The next morning, neighbors found the house empty. David was gone. His car remained, his wallet remained, his phone remained, but David was never seen again. Years later, new owners reported hearing a whisper every night at exactly 3:13 a.m. The same whisper, calling a name, waiting for someone to answer. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more terrifying horror stories every week. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, would you have opened the hidden door, or would you have run the moment you heard your name? Sleep carefully tonight. You never know who's listening.